If you are watching this video, that means that you have completed steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you are ready to move into your last step, step number 6, which asks you to prune information to make sure that you've specified your search and research topic in preparation for your final presentation and product. Now, in steps 4 and 5, you are collecting information on this worksheet where you are identifying key questions and you are identifying information to help you answer those questions. Now, I, like you, did that work and I started to collect information about my question, which was what was life like for women in the Delaware colony. And as I was researching, I found that it was really hard to collect information. I was able to find information about life for colonial women. I was able to find answers about like Quakers, but it was really hard to find specifics for Delaware. And so I had to do a lot of research, and eventually with some time and effort, I was able to get to quite a bit of information. But with that information, I now have a lot of choices to make. And so step number 6 is all about pruning. And now when we ask you to prune, like, that does not mean we're asking you to eat these sweet, weird fruits. That does not mean we're asking you to trim trees, but we're getting to the point here. Pruning is really about taking like what is best, or taking what is most important and highlighting that, instead of overwhelming people with so much information that they get lost about the topic or about the question that you're researching. And so what we're seeing here is that pruning is all about identifying what is important and highlighting that. And so what you're going to do is go to your actual document where you have collected information, and you're going to reread what you've collected. And so here in my first section, I have life about colonial women, like what was going on for them. I have things about their legal rights and freedoms. Here I know that Delaware had a large number of Quakers, and so I wanted to look at like what Quakers thought about women. I know that the middle colonies are very diverse. There were lots of colonists from other places besides England living there, and I wanted to see like what did their culture bring to the colony. I found information about like agriculture and its role in Delaware. I found this like really interesting woman in Delaware who like kind of bucked the trend and was like, I'm not going to answer to my husband. I'm not going to do what he tells me to do. I'm doing what I want to do. And that was really cool. And then I also found information about the native people of Delaware and kind of some things about their community, and like how familial lines went through women and how they had roles within the community. So I've collected a lot of information, both about women in general, but also about women specifically in Delaware. And so my job today is to actually choose and highlight what I think to be the 2 best pieces of information about women in Delaware. And so I really like these information pieces kind of about colonial women as a whole, but I think I actually want to find something that's a little bit more specific to Delaware. And so this piece of information here on about the middle colonies and about women in the middle colonies, I found very interesting, because it told me that like not every woman fit some like specific English stereotype, but that there were really diverse things that were held by women within the middle colonies, and Delaware was one of those middle colonies. Another one that really stood out to me was the native people of Delaware. I really like this idea that women had a role within the community, and that role was very clear and also very important. And I think that these 2 kind of highlight some key differences about Delaware, both in terms of the native population, but as well the European population coming into those colonies. Now, one of the things that like I struggle with is that is obviously not a complete picture. There's still much more about Delaware and about women in Delaware that I could include. And so just because you're pruning this information doesn't mean that you're getting rid of the other information. It's that you're highlighting these 2 pieces as like the most important. And once you've done that, so you can see I've highlighted my 2 pieces here. Once you've done that, you are ready to actually submit that to me. And so the first thing you want to make sure you're doing is that you are saving it so that the most recent copy is ready on OneDrive. And then you're going to go to your OneDrive. So to get to OneDrive, you go to Seattle Schools, Students, and you're going to hit Office 365. Now, sometimes it logs you in automatically. Sometimes it'll ask you to log in. But either way, you're going to now be in the OneDrive area, and you can see your most recent document. So what I just saved, and notice my name is very prominent and my colony is very prominent. So you want to make sure that that is true for you as well. And so when you click on that document online, it's going to pull it up, and you can see there's my highlights. Perfect. And then you are going to share that document with myself or Mr. Berger. So you're going to hit the share up here in the right-hand corner. When you do that, it's going to give you an option here to add someone, and you can actually just search by our last name. So here I am by last name. You would click on that. That means I'm there. If you have Mr. Berger, you look for Berger, click on that. And then you would just send that document. So if I'm your teacher, make sure you're sending it to me. If Mr. Berger is your teacher, make sure you're sending it to him. This allows us to check off step number 6 over break if you're unable to complete it before you go to break, or it allows it to check it off in our last day of work on Friday. So please make sure that you're submitting step number 6. We look forward to seeing the information that you've collected. You have pruned. Congratulations.